Well, greetings and welcome to our devotion time today. We are continuing our study in Genesis and looking at Noah's life. And last week I said we would come to this place where Noah has his first God encounter. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And this God encounter is an encounter, I think, as I study the Old Testament, especially more and more, and obviously it's in the New Testament as well. But God comes to us not just for conversation's sake, not just to bless us, though we certainly have encounters throughout the Scriptures about God coming to us to speak to our hearts, to speak to His people, and He comes to us that way. And obviously, when we encounter God, there are many blessings that come about because He encounters us that way. But I think there's more of a purpose. And again, I see this in the Old Testament especially, that there's a greater intention than just conversations or just blessings, as wonderful as those events are. He comes to make a covenant with us, and we Methodists, maybe we're familiar with that. We talk about us being a covenant community, and perhaps we need to talk about that a good bit more. I think that's some of the struggles that we are truly having in our church now, is not understanding that we are a people of the covenant. And God offers a covenant to each one of us. And again, we see this throughout, especially the Old Testament here. We've been studying in Genesis. And we're going to see more of that if we end up getting into Abraham's story. And we see God, I guess we would say, cut the covenant with him at the two halves of the animal there. There's something very significant about that. But God has come to gather to himself a covenant people. And we see this lived out in Noah's life. And maybe that's the question we should ask ourselves today. Do we have a covenant with our God? Has he come to invite us into a covenant like he invited Moses, he invited Noah here, or Abraham? Has this come about? And the word covenant is berit in the Hebrew, and it's just again a powerful word. There's some formality to it. In a sense, there's some legalistic language in the idea of covenant. This is a guaranteed event. God has signed His name and said this is going to happen. There is nothing in this world, nothing in creation that will cause this covenant to be diminished. And you look at it that way, it's quite a bit like a love letter to us. That this ultimate commitment that God gives each one of us. Now, I want to read in Genesis chapter 6 and start at the latter half of verse 18. You are to come into the ark, you and your sons and your wives, and your sons' wives with you. And this is God calling a family to Him, to an ark. You think about this: the flood's coming. There's going to be destruction. But here is God's offering of salvation. This is God's offering of protection, really. It's an offering to be with Him in the ark. We'll continue on here. Of every living thing of all flesh, you are to bring two of every sort into the ark to keep them alive with you. They are to be made to be male and female, of the birds of their kind, of the cattle of their kind, of every creeping thing of the ground after its kind. To every sort are to come to you to keep them alive. And so God is making a covenant with Noah. He's making a covenant with the world, with His creation. And I won't. Did you notice the word "bring every animal of his kind"? He's established. There's a definition. There's male. There's female. There's the certain beasts that have their definition. So I can't go around the world and say, I know I look human, but I'm actually a dog, or whatever it may be. That there are boundaries. There are creation is made to be what creation was made to be, and to pretend to be something else is just foolishness. It doesn't work. And come into my shelter and be who you were called to be. Be the person I created you to be. And so God invites Noah to come into this ark. And this is a covenant. Come under my protection, and it's guaranteed protection. I'll go on to verse 21. Take with you all the food that is eaten, and gather it to you, and it will be for food for you and for them. And again, this is a covenant promise that these things that you gather up, they will be a part of your life. You're not going to lose them. I think sometimes we fear in life as we go through life. We make bad decisions because we're afraid we're going to lose something. And so this is God saying, when you come under my care, under my protection, into my ark, you're not going to lose these things that you've gathered. As a matter of fact, they'll become more of a blessing, because I think we don't care as much about losing them. We're not as afraid of those things, and so the things in our life don't become the ultimate thing that our minds are grabbing hold of. Instead, our mind is allowed to be free from things and free to respond to God. Well, I'm going to leave you with those thoughts today. This covenant maker has come to Noah, and I guarantee he comes to you as well. Will you make a covenant with our God? Go in peace. We'll see you soon. Blessings. Bye now.